So we're here at Shrewsbury Cemetery, and Tony, obviously a former serviceman, and we're here next to the grave of William Atkinson. Just fill us in on, there's a little story to go with this one, Tony. Just fill us in on what's been happening.
Yes, myself and Bill Atkinson served together in Germany in the mid-80s, and he was a good colleague of mine and a good comrade, and I was very upset that he'd passed away in the manner that he did. So the RAMC Association Shropshire branch decided a year ago to try and refurbish Bill's grave headstone.
I suppose we should say it was tragic. He was 36 when he passed, not in the line of duty. He just fill us in on what happened roughly.
Well, it was a typical Christmas function for the lads. They went downtown, had a few beers, and sadly nobody really knows what happened, but sadly Bill fell into the river and was found about 3 weeks later. And ironically and very sadly, his wife was expecting his second child when he died.
Yeah.
And Bill Jr., as he was christened, was born after Bill was buried.
So he had a son who was 4 at the time.
Yes, Stephen was 4.
Yeah, and then this lad, this younger, which he'd never ever seen, and he was based at the Copthorne, so it was the River Severn here in Shrewsbury where he ended
yes,
up.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. And it's thought that he wasn't larking about, he was by himself, we think, when it happened. We suspected it was an accident, he just fell in.
I suspect that is the case, yes.
Yeah. So the grave, it ended up a bit of a state, did it?
Well, when I visited the grave last year, the gravestone had obviously weathered due to sort of climatic reasons, and it was obvious to me that if I could, as an association chairman and as a branch, we could refurbish his gravestone, that was the right thing to do, and I'm delighted that a year later we've achieved that aim.
And the idea was to get it ready for Remembrance Sunday as well,
yes,
which it
absolutely, which coincides with this weekend, which is I'm delighted about.
Yeah, and you've put a cross down there yourself. You said you did that last year as well.
We did that last year. The branch, members of the RMC Association Shropshire branch visit Bill's grave on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And a number of the branch members actually knew and served with Bill.
Yeah. And it was a bit of a to get permission to touch the grave really and refurb it. You wanted permission off the family, but that wasn't as easy straightforward as you might find either.
No, and this is where thankfully the Shropshire Star, the local paper, came into its own. And having given the story to the Shropshire Star, a member of Bill's family from Newcastle contacted me out of the blue and gave me the address of his son that he never saw.
Yeah.
And I wrote to his son, and he then passed the letter on to his widow, who then contacted me and gave me permission to proceed to meet the aspiration of refurbishing Bill's gravestone.
And as we said, you knew him personally. He was a nice lad.
Yes, he was a good colleague, and he was a bit of a boy, a typical jock.
Yeah.
A bit of a smiler, and everybody liked Bill and respected him.
So it obviously did, for you to put the time and dedication into what you've done here, it obviously did touch you when you heard about his death, and you obviously have felt kind of it's niggled you that it's been left. So
well, I think the army is a family, and
yeah.
whether you serve together on operations or you have fun back in a peacetime location, and even in these tragic circumstances, we still are part of a family. And what the association, the RMC Association branch has done in Shropshire is probably no different to what other association branches throughout the country does, and they look after their own long after they've gone.